One thing I think about a lot is health. So, just to give you a little background, I've had asthma all of my life. Asthma has been the single most physically limiting thing I've ever dealt with in my life. Most of us, if you've never had asthma or if you've been around someone with asthma, you know that not being able to breathe is a real thing. It is scary. It's a bit disturbing to see happen in real time. It's more disturbing actually going through it. And in 2016, I had a near-death experience. I was taking a nap and almost died from an asthma attack in my sleep. Yeah. And that was the last time that has actually happened to me. Mainly because I take care of my health. Because I decided to, lose 65 pounds. I'll share more stories about that. I even actually have previous episodes where I kind of share about that. I started taking care of my immune system properly. I got rid of, basic toxic products in the house, cleaning products and all the types of stuff, and found, safer options. But one thing about asthma that most people don't know is that the scary part for somebody like me who's had, multiple bouts of near-death experiences, who's gone through the ringer when I was a child, even through my adulthood, is you start to kind of see the world a little differently, right? And sometimes, just sometimes, there are things that happen in life and I think, wow, I know what that feeling feels like in a real way. And it got me to kind of thinking, man, how many people do I know that are feeling like they're out of their supply of resources? Their oxygen and the flow of finances has kind of stopped up. Or they feel like they're choked, meaning I can't get any more, right? Maybe I'm capped out at, my particular job at whatever, number it is, right? And that's all the salary I know I'm gonna get here. So I've either got to jump ship, but it's kind of, tight, and I'm not really sure if I want to move to some other, department or another company and start all over again, right? So you kind of feel like choked, like you're like locked up, right? And I will tell you that, as an asthmatic, as somebody who's dealt with that before, the only way I found relief is to ensure that I always had a way out. That I always had something, an inhaler, right? A nebulizer in those cases, back in the day for me for sure. But I needed some version of relief. Even if that relief was temporary until I get to a more permanent relief. That's how I think about building a side business. See, I think sometimes we are very reactive people to life. Meaning you and I, we wait until something happens. And then all of a sudden this mushroom of knowledge pops up and we know all the things we need to do. But by that time happens, you're making less better decisions because you're not clear, because the stress is at an all-time high and your options are at an all-time low. Now, listen, I'm not sitting here saying that, it's for everybody. I do think, though, having more resources is for everybody. And maybe resources to you might sound like a, weird word, but I do think that money is a resource. Just like I think food is a resource. Just like I think like having a team is a resource to the company, right? So if you've never thought about it, if you've never really stopped and asked yourself, what would a side business give me? I want you to think about me. Think about the asthmatic who knows that at any given moment, they could have a full-blown asthma attack. And as long as they have some version of temporary relief, they won't die when it happens. And that might sound dramatic, but let me ask you a question. If you got laid off today, if there was a downsizing, if there was a right sizing and that put you out, do you have some temporary relief? Do you have something that if or when something happens, you'll be able to make it? Doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means my stress is less and my options are more. Just some food for thought for today.